And we're live. What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny. This is episode 56. I've been feeling like we've been talking about Trump for a while now, and it's warranted, honestly. History was made yesterday, whether people like it or not. And I kind of want to give the reaction to my personal thoughts and give you guys more credence as I waited until later in the night to see what's been going on the internet. And it seemed like a lot of stuff happens. The backfiring that I've been predicting for a while, if you watch this channel, I had a video that said the desperation for a Trump conviction will backfire. That's what I say. I say it will backfire because all you're going to do is galvanize more support over for Trump. And as you saw in online, many videos, people are saying that they were never planning to support Trump. They were going to sit on the couch. And now they feel like they have to vote for Donald Trump because they cannot condone what Biden is doing, what the Democrats are doing, swaying everything in their favor. And I want to give you guys, because I don't want to sit here ranting because I don't want this to be a long video. Yeah, I don't want this to be a long video. Give me 1 second while I fix the hell what's going on. But Biden has essentially kind of painted the Democrats in a corner because now they're sitting here, threat to my democracy, threats to our democracy, but they're the biggest perpetrators of democracy. They are essentially creating the authoritarianism that they claim that Trump will bring into office. Everything they accuse Trump of doing, they're doing it themselves to him. They're prosecuting him. They're preventing him from going on ballots because they deem that he is not worthy of being electable, not worthy for the American people to vote for them, for him. Sorry. So let's get into the video of Biden's defending the Trump conviction. And he says he's calling it dangerous to question it, just like he called it dangerous to question that the economy is not in a good shape, that economy is a bad economy, that we're in a recession. Typical Democrats, it seemed like they're so reliant on gaslighting people into believing their narratives. Is laughable at this point. But I digress. Let's hear this 1 minute and 38-second clip about Joe Biden defending the Trump convictions. Let's take a look.
American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. Donald Trump was given every opportunity to defend himself. It was a state case, not a federal case, and it was heard by a jury of 12 citizens, 12 Americans, 12 people like you, like millions of Americans who served on juries. This jury is chosen the same way every jury in America is chosen.
Except the defendant is famous, right? Like this is not a fair trial. It would be one thing if it was like an innocuous, like unknown American citizen, fine. But Donald Trump is famous. You know his political leanings. You know about him. You know who he is. Everyone's gonna have an opinion on him already. This is what happens when you prosecute like a public figure. So this narrative that even Joe Biden's trying to spin here is not even coherent. But anything to look nonpartisan when it is partisan. He got prosecuted in a heavily Democratic state. Trump's a public figure. Happens to be the opposition of the politically dominated district. Trump's lawyers have been trying to change venues for the longest time, and the prosecutors, the New York justice system would not allow him to do it. Yet you want to claim that it's done the same way as any other trial. Oh, it's just business as usual. No, this is unusual. Every claim Trump said, "Hey, judge, you should recuse yourself. You donate to anti-Trump uh, PACs, political action groups. That means you have a negative bias against me as the defendant. You should recuse yourself." No, 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 no. Right? Online, these Democrat partisans acknowledge the fact that Trump would have never been prosecuted if he never went to a heavily Democratic state, which is New York. If he went to Florida, this wouldn't have happened. If he went to Georgia, this wouldn't have happened. If he got prosecuted in the federal court, where it's half Republican, half Democrat, this conviction wouldn't have happened. This is what I'm saying. It's tough for a president to really get a fair trial. I've been saying this for a long time. You're a public figure, and you're going to try to pretend that no one's going to have an opinion on Trump at this point. Like, end of the day, they could pretend all they want that, oh no, Trump had an opportunity to appeal. Trump had an opportunity to go through all the legal avenues and he still got convicted. But on what grounds? He asked, hey, can we change the venue? Did you change the venue? No. You denied him. Because is politically dominated by his opposition party. There's no way in hell you cannot make this look political. I'm digressing. I'm talking too much. I'm digressing.
It was a process that Donald Trump's attorney was part of. The jury heard 5 weeks of evidence, 5 weeks. And after careful deliberation, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. They found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts. Now he'll be given the opportunity, as he should, to appeal that decision just like everyone else has that opportunity. That's how the American system of justice works. And it's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict.
But it's not it's not dangerous. It's not irresponsible to have a prosecuting office, a judge who donated to an anti-Trump political action commit groups, right? It's not political. It's not dangerous and irresponsible for this judge not to recuse himself. It's not dangerous and it's not dangerous for a prosecutor, DA, attorney general of a heavily blue state to say that I'm going to get Trump. I'm running on getting Trump. That's not political. That's not irresponsible. That's not dangerous, Joe Biden. It seemed like they only have one way aggression. They only have one way critique. And to me, this is a big distraction to distract from the point that Biden doesn't have anything. Biden has nothing to stand on. Biden can't brag about the economy. He's wrecking it. His administration brought the highest inflation in 40 years in 2022. In 2022, he suffered two negative GDP growth, which usually signals a recession. And he had everybody in mainstream media caping for him, telling him they're changing the definitions of what a recession is. But that's not dangerous and irresponsible, Joe Biden. This is why majority of Americans believe that this prosecution was political, because it is. Republican president getting prosecuted in a district that's 95% Democrat, where the attorney general, Democrat, where the district attorney, Democrat, judge, Democrat donor, judge's daughter, Democrat political consultant, campaigning on the fact that her father is overseeing the Trump trials, the hush money trials. I bet that gave you a lot of donations, Democratic Party. No conflict of interest, but that's not dangerous and irresponsible. When you flip, like, end of the day, people, I'm not sitting here trying to, tell you how you should think about things. I'm just trying to give you my side of the story, because this is a conversation, right? You're gonna let me know in the chat. You're gonna let me know in the comment section. But I legitimately think, yo, when you hold them to their own standards, they pretending that they're abiding by, they're holding Trump to. No one's above the law unless you got a D next to your name. And many people online have been exposing this hypocrisy that's been known for years. Democrats' slogan is look good, but not be good. Trump don't look good, but he is good. Like, he's doing things in the best interest of his country. He's doing what he believes is best for the country, best for the American people. People may not like how he go about it. People may not like Trump's approach, but people understand that Trump's is sincere in his attempt to making the country a better place. They may not agree with his tactics, and they may not agree with his demeanor. They may not agree with how he chooses to convey himself. But everyone knows where Trump's allegiance is, where Trump's interest is. He wants to make this country great again for all Americans. All you have to do is look at his policies. He don't sit here trying to be like, oh, I'm a leader of men. He's very transparent with you, so transparent to a fault. And people can appreciate that realness, because in politics it has become some kind of theater. like actors on a stage. That's what politics has become nowadays. This is what Biden's doing. He's no good, moral, principled person, but he's gonna sit here and pretend no one's above the law. Then you just got exonerated from getting prosecuted for the same crimes you prosecuting Trump for because you're mentally unfit. You're too old to be prosecuted, Joe Biden. But you don't see him holding himself to the same standard. And this is the two-tier justice that a lot of conservatives have been pointing out. Independents don't want to acknowledge it, but now it's in your face. No, it's undeniable now. 60% of Americans knows that this is politically motivated. The only group of people who don't see the Trump trials, the Trump charges as political are Democrats. The only demographic. Independents, majority of independents don't think this is politically motivated. Republicans definitely think this is politically motivated. Only Democrats think it's not. So he's speaking to the choir here. And bear with me, guys. I don't know what's going on with my buffering, but the videos haven't been playing smoothly. The internet wants to trip up on me right now. So let's finish out the last 38 seconds, and I'll give you more reactions on Twitter and online about how people are taking the news of the Trump conviction.
Our justice system has endured for nearly 250 years, and it literally is the cornerstone of America, our justice system. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down. It's as simple as that. That's America. That's who we are. And that's who we'll always be, God willing.
So we got this, and there's viral clips online where Biden was asked, hey, do you think Donald Trump's a political prisoner? And he walked away and smiled, right? And this is something you're going to notice a lot with the left, right? The left they feel happy. I felt like I won. The View hosts are absolutely giddy as they celebrate Trump's verdict. What are you happy about? What are you showing teeth about? My dog ain't do nothing. That's what I'm saying. My dog ain't do Trump ain't do nothing. He miscategorized an expense, and he's a felon for that when he usually is a misdemeanor. But you have to change up the laws and upgrade it into a felony charge because you're saying that he's committed this miscalculation, this miscategorization of expenses to cover up some other crime. And you ask the $1 million question, what is the crime? In our politics, we don't know what a woman is. In our politics, we don't know what a recession is. And now in our politics, we don't know what a crime is. Make it make sense. Democrat Party for you. Right? But they're happy. They don't know why. Because end of the day, it was never about justice. This fake virtue signaling, this fake virtue that the Democrats and many people on the left pretend that they have, it's not about truth. It's not about holding people accountable. It's not about principles. It's about, hey, I just want to get the guy because I don't like the guy. Let's read a little bit into the article, and then I'll go on to the next article. The hosts of the ABC The View could not contain their excitement as they celebrate former President Donald Trump's conviction in Manhattan hush money case. Everyone around the table, including the two who profess to be Republicans, have something to say about the outcome, and none of them appear to be concerned, as even some CNN analysts were that District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchant have potentially overstepped in bringing the case in the first place. How are you a state? This is the funny part. How you are a state legal system and you're prosecuting the president, who is essentially a federal official. Shouldn't it be the federal government prosecuting Trump? Shouldn't Trump be indicted by the Congress, where he will have a fairer trial than in the state level? But they don't care. All they care about is, hey, I want to be able to call this guy a felon. Right? Let's listen to some of the clips.
Donald John Trump.
Don't tell me.
Is a convicted felon.
This is stuff that you're supposed to be dispassionate about, right? Like, do you cheer when someone, I mean, maybe you do, depending on the crime, right? Ignoring the fact that Bragg campaigned on getting Trump come hell or high water, Whoopi proclaims he was in that courtroom because of what he did. He was convicted here in New York because New York brought him to trial. He was cheap, and that's what you get. She cited, like, yo, they taking their jabs at point, but at this point, I'm like, he who laughs best, right? We'll see in November. We'll see in November. So I want to let you guys know the results of the aftermath so far as of 8:39. It's probably going to be higher now, but Trump raised about $52 million because of this because of the conviction. He's crashing websites. Like it's so funny how all this is backfiring on the Democrats. And then the Democrats wonder why in polls people are saying that they're a threat to democracy. Right? I have some data. There's some tweets that I want to kind of expose on the on this live stream. Trump is a threat to democracy. Are you serious? Biden has actively partied apart in New York to convict Trump on spurious charges. I hate when they use these words that I'm not familiar with, but hey, I'm learning. Thus leading to a possible jailing of his chief political rival. But you get mad at Putin for doing the same thing, but you're doing it. When it benefits you, when someone else do it, oh, it's wrong. When you do it, oh, it's justified. That's the game Democrat play. That's the game that Democrats play. And you're gonna see this thing because this is what this video is gonna be about. It's gonna show you highlight how this is politically motivated. Because if it wasn't politically motivated, the standards in which they prosecuted Trump would not stand on anyone else. Activated his DOJ to target Trump in 3 separate jurisdictions while avoiding criminal culpability for himself and his son, aka Biden. Biden's doing this for himself and his son, right? Oh, the Manhattan DAs are actually going after Hunter Biden. Lie. Hunter Biden essentially is what act he failed? I forgot. What was the Espionage Act? He forgot he didn't register himself as a federal agent or a federal actor or something like that. Someone associated with the federal government. And he's out here making business deals with Ukrainian companies in industries that he has no expertise in, but they're making him executives in these companies. Everything that he promised those corporate executives in Ukraine, somehow magically it happens. A Russian oligarch paid him millions of dollars to not have her name on the blacklist. And what do you know? Her name's not on the blacklist. Coincidence? I think not. But no investigation for that. Instead, we're going to get him on tax evasion and gun charges, and then we're going to try to sneak in the more serious one so we can play this game that, oh, look, we prosecuted Hunter Biden, even though there's more egregious stuff that he violated, but we want to get him on the minor stuff. But with Trump, they'll find the minor stuff and upgrade it into a felony just to make something up. But Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. The pot calling the kettle black. Try to use OSHA to force 80 million Americans to take the vax. That wasn't authoritarian. It was authoritarian. Like, come on. These people, Democrats have mastered the art of doublespeak. They say one thing, but really they mean the other. Protect our democracy means protect our power and control. Protect our power and control. That's what threat to democracy actually means for when it comes out of the lips of the Democratic Party. Defy the Supreme Court by illegally waiving student loan debt. That does not sound authoritarian. Falsely claimed that any election he uses will have to be decided by racist Republicans' voter suppression, aka the Georgia law or voter ID laws. Even though the Georgia election had the highest turnout after, like, the year after the voter suppression law got passed. Creating narratives. That's all the Democrats, all the leftists is good at doing. Creating narratives because they know the truth is not on their side. The evidence is not on their side. And they try to omit evidence. They try to get you focused on things that really don't even matter. Right? Use the government agencies to threaten social media companies. Twitter files anyone? Attack states for attempting to enforce border laws. The list continues, but that's just a short version, right? When a Democrat says threat to our democracy, say it with me. They really mean threat to our corrupt bureaucracy. Me, I say power, control, influence, narrative. There's a lot of, it's a very flexible word, right? This is Vox in 2019, October 9th, 2016, sorry. Donald Trump's threat to imprison Hillary Clinton is a threat to democracy. Where's that out? Where's that at here now? Biden. But Biden has nothing to do with it, Kenny. It's just his party doing it in a heavily Democratic state. No, Biden has nothing to do with it. Biden didn't interfere. He could have stopped this, right? But he didn't. He chose not to. And now he gets to run campaigns calling Donald Trump a felon. He's a felon. Now they're gonna say convicted felon Donald Trump.
Verdict came
Sorry.
down.
Convicted felon Donald Trump. That's what they wanted. That's what the mainstream media wanted. That's why they're so happy. Like I said in my my standalone video talking about my initial reactions to the story, Joy Reid finally lived up to her name on May 30th. So here's Vivek. He's going to give his kind of thoughts about his reaction to the verdict. Because remember, we're going through pretty much everyone's thoughts about this and really hammering the point home about the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. And a Democrat Party wears this fake virtue as if they're doing something good. In reality, no, they're just doing things for their own ends, for their own political gain. Because that's all it is. When they use democracy, it's not because they actually believe in democracy. It's because they believe democracy helps help them politically, their political gain. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why I think we need honest politicians. But I think Americans can't handle honest politicians. If an honest politician came here and said, hey, we need to cut Social Security, Vivek Ramaswamy, hey, we should have only birthright citizenship. We should eliminate that. Everyone's like, no. We should limit voting. Politicians say that. Am I going to vote so that way in the future this politician take away my vote? No way, I'm not going to do that. And then they wonder why, politicians, all they do is lie to us. All they do is tell us what we want to hear. Because that's what us, the American people, that's what we reward. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all can't let Biden win. Y'all can't let the Democrats win. Because God forbid, we let these people win. Let them keep their seats in office. Let Joe Biden become president again. They're gonna be like, oh shoot, the American people just let us prosecute our political rival with no consequence, because that's how politicians see it. They don't care if you complain, you bitch, you moan about you having to vote for Joe Biden. All they care about is, did you vote for him or not? Oh, you voted for me? I'll take that as a sign of approval. They don't care if you did it dragging and screaming. They don't care if you put your nose up and I didn't want to vote for you, Joe Biden, but I had to put up my nose and vote for you anyway because you were the better choice. I didn't want Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. But you need to do better, Joe Biden. Joe Biden don't care about that. You still gave him what he want. You still kept me in power. That's it. I'm done. Black people, y'all should know. Every 4 years, the Democrat Party only comes around every 4 years to pander to you. Once they get their 90% vote from you, gone. Oh, we don't get none of our agenda passed. We don't get nothing for our vote. All we get is lip service. Our vote gets taken advantage of because you gave them what they want. You're becoming a political chump, and it can't happen. That's why I said Kirk is calling America, and look like we're responding well. $52 million overnight. In 12 hours, in 24 hours since the conviction, Donald Trump has raised $52 million. That's a big statement right there. On Google Trends, support for Trump was, how do I support Trump was the highest searched word over how I support Biden. But Democrats want to sit here and pretend that they're winning this optic war. Oh no, they're losing this. That's why I said the backfiring is happening. Public support is behind Trump. The money seems to be flowing behind Trump. Everything points to, hey, we can't let the Democrats win, because now, effectively, what the Democrats have done, they have done the most idiotic thing they could possibly do. They have created a martyr out of Trump. They have created Trump to be a protest vote. All those anti-Israel people, sorry, I have to bring them up, right? Democrats, nothing about them. They're trying to ignore the problem, right? Typical politicians want to take credit for all the good things, but don't want to take responsibility for none of the bad things. That's what the Democrats are doing right now. Those people are going to sit out. No one's enthusiastic to vote for Biden. But what about Trump? I told you in my last video when I made the video about my aftermath of the Trump verdict. Whoever can get closest to their 2020 numbers wins the election in 2024. And who's more likely to do that? Trump. Trump has the enthusiasm advantage. And what the Democratic Party just did was put gasoline over the fire. We're going to look back in history and say this was one of the biggest political mistakes by a political party in American history because they did something unprecedented. You know, Democrats love to make superficial histrionics, cut their noses to spite their face because they're so, oh, we need to get Trump. They're so desperate to change the narrative, to make it about Trump because they know they can't stand on their own merits. But I'm done rambling. Let's hear from Vivek Ramaswamy.
I just got to Italy. I was traveling here while the Trump verdict came down. And I have to say that when people here ask me what the heck is going on in your country, I am ashamed. If this were happening in another country and we in the United States heard about a party in power that was using prosecutorial force to bring fake charges against a leading opponent in the middle of an election, we would call that the stuff of a banana republic. And yet now that's us. This is the stuff of how nations decline. Speaking of Italy, this is the kind of thing you would see in the fall of the ancient Roman Empire.
And one thing I want to point out too, sorry. Democrats want to pretend that, oh, we're not socialists, we're not communists, but you're doing things that communists would do. Communist says, hey, the means justify the ends justify the means. A communist says that if they had to lie, cheat, and steal to enact the utopia, they will. When a moral person wouldn't do that. If I told you, hey, you can save the world, but you have to lie to do it, would you do it? No. The moral person will say, no, I'm gonna tell them the truth, and I will try to persuade the people into following along with the solution. I don't want to fraud people or trick people into doing something that they don't knowingly know what to do. Because then when they realize they've been tricked, you're gonna create a revolution. But communists don't care. Socialists don't care. This is why socialists hate religious people. This is one of the reasons why I don't understand the left's anti-religious kind of sentiment, because religion is essentially a check on human nature. Because it's in human nature to be like the strong rules over the weak. If I have the leverage, if I have the power, I'm allowed to use it for my own gain and my own benefit. What's good, what's fair, be damned. And this is how the Democrats are operating, like Machiavellians. But then they want to sit here and pretend that they're the more virtuous party. They're the more moral party. They have the goal to try to tell the Republicans how they're supposed to act, what they're supposed to tolerate, what they're supposed to accept. That's why I put that clip with Stephen A. Smith. We don't care. You gave me 34 reasons to vote for Trump again. More. I said, I don't need any more. Like Democrats, bro. I don't need any more motivation, bro. Yeah, the economy was enough. What you guys are doing on immigration was enough to make me vote for Donald Trump. I don't need more smoke. I don't need no more fire. Maybe other people do. I don't need no more. But they don't stop. Because the left, it seemed like they're arrogant. And it seemed like they're that condescending, trash-talking kid on the side of the park that needs a good attitude adjustment. I think that's what needs to happen to the Democratic Party. They need an attitude adjustment. Because the mainstream media, who's overwhelmingly dominated by the left, majority of journalists are Democrats. Majority of journalists donate to the Democratic Party. Journalism is known as the most liberal profession in America. They've been, I guess, circle jerking each other in an echo chamber, acting like their ish don't stink. Talking about, oh, inflation is exaggerated. The effects of inflation is exaggerated when these people are in high network areas. They only hang around other Ivy League, rich and wealthy people. So they're out of touch to the experience of the common American. Yet they want to sit on TV and gaslight you and say that 60% of Americans believe that we're in a recession. Here's why they're wrong. Chastising us. Oh, we're not in recession. The economy is doing good. But college graduate kids graduating college right now in 2024 says it's hard to find a job. Cost of living is rising. People saying they have to take out a second job, a part-time job to make ends meet. People have to change spending habits. Does that sound like a strong economy to you? Compare that to 2019. Trump got a lot of stuff going for him, and they know this. The nostalgia factor, 2019, everyone look at 2019 fondly. If I ask someone, hey, would you rather have 2019 or 2024? People will pick 2019 over in a heartbeat. But this is the narrative that they want to perpetuate. Oh, you're gonna vote for a convicted felon? If the Republicans were about their principles, they would not elect this convicted felon as their nominee. That's what they want to make the election about. Crap that don't matter. That's why I said I don't care. I don't care if he's a convicted felon. Before all I know is is his status as a convicted felon change his policies? No, that's the substance. But Democrats and the left-wing media, which is biased towards the left because majority of the journalists are leftists, and I don't care how many times they complain and say, "Oh no, we call things down the middle. We're objective." You're not objective because your bias bleeds into your work. You omit facts as you augment evidence and facts that are contradictory to the narrative you want to push. You want the audience so badly to buy into your vision of the world. That's why you try to, in real time, fact check Donald Trump, because you don't want people to believe another narrative. You don't want people or your audience to have another view. This is why they hyper focus on Trump so much. They spend 600 minutes on the hush money trial. I'm telling you, bro. And then they get mad when we call them propagandists. They want to get mad that people online, oh, these people are not real journalists. Talks with Kenny is not a real journalist. Is the evidence that I point to is real? Is the data points that I point out, is that real? Then who cares if I have a stupid credential of journalism? I believe someone is something that they repeatedly do. If I repeatedly talk politics, then I'm a political commentator. If I repeatedly do journalism, then I'm a journalist. If I repeatedly farm my field, then I'm a farmer. I don't need to go to no institution, get their blessing, and then they go, now you are a farmer. No, I don't need no one's permission to do anything. And that's where I'm a little libertarian at. I don't think credentials make the person. Credentials are supposed to be a step of approval saying, hey, you have been trained in the skills necessary to do this role. That's what a degree used to mean. Not some gatekeeping credentialism that the left like to use. The fallacy of authority. That's what the left relies on. Experts say this. Experts overwhelmingly towards the left. Like experts can't be wrong. Experts told us that if you got the COVID shot, you wouldn't spread COVID. Guess who is wrong? The expert. I'm done ranting. I'm done ranting.
Well, now it's happening right in our own homeland. Sometimes you just go abroad and you see the way that you're viewed. It reminds you of how much our own nation has rotted at its core. The time for change is now. 2024 is a 1776 moment. I am proud to be an American, but it doesn't feel that way now when the rest of the world looks down upon the kangaroo courts that send our own political leaders to prison. Enough of it. I don't care if you're on the left or right. This is a danger to the future of our country. And I'm asking you to step up this year so we can actually get this right. We have a country to save, and if we don't get this right in the next 7 months, I think it's quite possible we don't have a country left.
Hey, man, when they used to make those, the meme, oh, the most important election of our lifetimes, bruh. Leave it to the Democrats to make that a true statement one of these years. If no one's above the law, people will be jailed for destroying a private server with government classified info on it. If no one was above the law, people will be jailed for illegal drone strikes. If no one was above the law, people will be impeached for admitting in a crowded room they threatened a foreign nation president in order to get his son on an advisory board, Joe Biden. If no one was above the law, people would get investigated for insider trading in Congress, Pelosi. If no one was above the law, actual criminals will be getting jail time and are not having their crimes bumped down to misdemeanors. New York, California, San Francisco, Chicago. Either we apply the same level of justice to everyone or no one. And that's all I'm asking. If you're not going to prosecute Hillary Clinton for destroying classified documents on a private server that she had illegally in her house while she was just a Secretary of State, but you're going to prosecute a former president for classified documents where he has some rights to classified information as president, while the Secretary of State has no rights to classified information? You don't prosecute the secretary who's technically in the lower position in the hierarchy, but you want to prosecute the big guy, the president, the chief, the commander in chief. You prosecute him, but not the Secretary of State who had no grounds to have that information in her possession after she leaves office. Make it make sense, Democrats. I already say it. The most corrupt systems, I think, are blue cities in blue states. The number one people who complain the most about crime, they come from blue states. Chicago, blue state. California, blue state. New York, blue state. When in Hollywood, when they put that picture of the corrupt cop, NYPD, LAPD, yo, come on. It writes itself. But then they pretend, oh no, we're not using it for political gain. All right, now we get into the outrage, right? Because I'm part of that outrage. CNN's senior legal analyst describes how the Trump conviction was a pure political hit job. Look, let me know. Let me know if I'm crazy. Like sometimes I do these videos, these segments, these live streams because I want to know. Am I the only one who thinks that? Yo, what the? Do they think we're that dumb? They're literally insulting America's intelligence because they know a lot of Americans. Like, this is why I say Democrats have a monopoly on the ignorant vote. I know Democrat voters are going to get mad at me. Yes, I acknowledge there's some ignorant Republican voters too. But I will argue that the Democrats have the largest percentage of the ignorant vote voting for them. You know how I know? Because which political party is asking, demanding that the voting age be lowered to 16 years old? Democrats. So if a party that's believed that they have a larger share of the educated vote, why are you asking for 16-year-olds to vote in presidential elections when they have no skin in the game for the most part? Make it make sense. Which institutions are overwhelmingly dominated by the left? Journalism, Hollywood, media. All these celebrities, political figures, they could only be openly left. God forbid one of these celebrities are openly Republican. What happens to them? Canceled. They may lose their roles. So it's easy if you're just passive. If you don't do any research for yourself, if you don't do any any research for yourself, you'll be passively a Democrat, a liberal. What about schools? The education system, overwhelmingly dominated by the left. Look at the Department of Education, 88% Democrat. They donate to the Democrat Party at an 88% clip. You don't think that bias is gonna creep into the education system? Where do you think they taught the party switch narrative? In public schools, where 76% of American kids are educated in. And you wonder why we don't have a solid understanding of history. Another talking point, another angle that I have, and we'll go back into this analyst's this legal analyst's position and point, is that which media companies, right, are telling you not to do your own research. Is it right-wing media websites? No, it's left-wing media websites. How doing your own research can lead to misinformation. That's a headline. Look it up. That's a headline. The left does not want you to critically think, because when you critically think, you question them. And nothing pisses off a Democrat more than a pointed question at their agenda, at their policy, at their approach. This is why they don't like to debate. A famous leftist called Destiny, he says that the conviction is BS. I'm like, hey, this guy really I agree with him, but hey, this guy is fair. He's fair. A liberal, famous liberal, Destiny. You've seen him on the podcast. He did a podcast with the Harsh twins. He had a debate with Jordan Peterson about climate change, where I heavily went against him. I didn't like none of his positions on climate change. He said himself, hey, I'm not going to vote. Literally, people are protesting Joe Biden. How is Joe Biden? There's no way the media can frame Joe Biden as the good guy here. No way. Trump is literally going through the hero's journey. He's going through trials, tribulations, obstacles, and then the victory is at the end of the line. All he has to do is persevere. Look at the support he's getting. If this was a movie, is Donald Trump the hero or he's the villain? Let me know in the comment section. The judge donated money in plain violation of a rule prohibiting New York judges from making political donations to a pro-Biden, anti-Trump political operation. If it was not political, Joe Biden, should that judge recuse himself? The answer is yes. Alvin Bragg boasted on the campaign trail in an overwhelmingly Democratic county, which is where they held the court hearings, where they hold the trial at. It is a fact that I have sued Trump over 100 times. Imagine this. They've been trying to get Trump for 8 years. Think about that. Think about that. Imagine that. Like, no, just sit down and imagine that a legal system, an entire political party, has been trying to sue you, convict you on charges for 8 years. I'll let that simmer down. I'll let you like chew on that. 8 years they've been trying to get you. 8 years they've been trying to get Trump. And they finally did it. After how many? I sued him over 100 times. Most importantly, the DA charges against Trump push the outer boundaries of law and due process. The charges against Trump are obscure and nearly entirely unprecedented. Unprecedented. That's a word that's been used so many times throughout Trump's political run in politics. In fact, no state prosecutor in New York or Wyoming or anywhere has ever charged federal election laws as a direct or predicate state crime against anyone for anything, none ever. Democrats love making history, boy, all for the wrong reasons. First woman VP, and she's the most unskilled VP ever. Kamala Harris couldn't even sell you on sliced bread. That's how bad she is at marketing ideas, speaking, articulating herself. But she's a black woman, a black-looking woman. She's not black, but some black people will fight me on that. The DA inflated misdemeanors past the statute of limitations. There's a certain time period where the court system is allowed to prosecute you for something, and they just pretended it didn't exist. You can only do this at an ideologically dominated district such as New York. I'll never catch my butt in New York, boy. And electroshocked them back into life by alleging that the falsification of the business records was committed with intent to commit another crime. This is the biggest reason why many people said the conviction is BS. You have not stated what that crime is. What was the goal of falsifying I can't speak today. For falsifying the business records? What was the intent? What was the crime? Humans suck. Humans suck at judging intentions. We can only judge action. What was the action? Because the only way you can judge intention is if you're a mind reader. And I know no human alive has that power. Democrats pretend they know what Trump means. Trump is dog whistling to his racist base. That's you making it up. That's you assuming that's what he means. What he actually said. Let's go back to what he actually said, not what you think he said. And that's the problem with the mainstream media. This is why the mainstream media is a threat to America, threat to our republic. This is why most people don't trust the mainstream media. 59% of Americans believe the mainstream media is a threat to democracy, is a threat to America. This is why. Because they don't push back against their side. And this is how political bias has creeped into journalism. Inexcusably, the DA refuses to specify what those unlawful means actually were. And the judge declines to force them to pony up, aka the juror had to actually charge them with something. Until right before the closing arguments. So much for the constitutional obligation to provide notice to the defendant of the accusations against them in advance of the trial. This is the number one reason why many people, it's a safe bet if you're a betting man that Trump will win the appeal because of this. Trump doesn't even know the crime that he was being accused of. In these key respects, the charges against Trump aren't just unusual, they're bespoke, similarly crafted individually for the former president and nobody else. So they made the laws so inherent to Donald Trump that only Donald Trump can be prosecuted for this stuff. No one else. The Manhattan DA employees reportedly called this the zombie case because the various legal infirmities, including its bizarre charging mechanism, but it's better characterized as the Frankenstein case, cobbled together with ill-fitted parts into an ugly, awkward, but more than less functioning contraction that just might ultimately turn on its creator. Prosecutors got Trump, but they constituted the law. Construed the law. Sorry, guys, I can't speak today. Outrage. Like, if you're in favor of this, right? If you're like these kids here, right? Like, I'm gonna put it here for you guys because this is how the left is dancing. Right? Oh, I don't want to get copyrighted. Sorry. So, this is the left here. These are the two Biden influencers that's on TikTok dancing, happy as hell. What you happy for? Like, what you dancing for? This is what you're happy about? You twisted the law into a pretzel to get Trump, right? Trump raised staggering sum of cash in 24 hours since verdict. This is where I got the thumbnail at. Total raised in 24 hours after the Biden shams trial, $52.8 million. And it probably is going to be even more by the end of the week. He could hit 100 mil. Imagine that. By the end of the May, he raised $52 million in a day. Yo, I don't know how you make Trump the villain in this. I don't know how the media can spin Trump as the villain. You have made Donald Trump the ultimate victim. There's no way in hell you can convince nonpartisan, neutral, skeptical people of Biden that this is not a political trial. No one's above the law, says Joe Biden. Tim Pool replies, just you, Hillary, Clapper, Obama, Epstein's list. Damn, the list is pretty long. Am I right? Next, hey, look, I'm asking for consistency. That's all I'm asking for. Alvin Bragg, the New York justice system. Prosecute Bill Clinton then. He's a former president. Just prosecute him. You just did it to Trump. Prosecute him. The look you give when you know your husband got away with paying Paola Jones $800,000 in hush money because he has because he's on the D side, the Democrat side, your side. You're lenient with people on your side, but you're harsh on people against you. Judge Merchant released evidence that Trump deleted 33,000 emails after subpoenaed. You guys know what he's going with this. Smashed Blackberries and other devices to hide evidence, had an illegal private server in his basement, had the servers bleached to destroy evidence. He deserved to rot in jail. Nobody's above the law. Just kidding. That was Hillary Clinton. Right? Actual things that we're accusing Hillary of doing. Actual things. Not pretend things. Not saying, oh, he did this to disguise some other crime that we don't quite know. Here's 1998. President Bill Clinton agreed to pay Paola Jones $850,000 to drop her sexual harassment lawsuit. Hey, look, we're doing the work for you, New York. Prove it to us, Joe Biden. Prove to us that no one is above the law. This should trend. Let's make this trend. Joe Biden, prove to us that no one's above the law. Have the New York state attorneys prosecute a former president, Bill Clinton, because he literally did the same thing that you just charged Trump for doing. Let's make Bill Clinton a convicted felon too. Let's put your money where your mouth is, Joe.
What happened? Well, we're very pleased we reached a settlement. The president does not want to spend one more minute on this matter. The American people have made it very, very clear that they want the president and they want Congress to spend their time on the problems they were elected to solve. and this is a step in that direction. Fortunately, a new counsel, Ms. Jones, satisfied the conditions which we had, one of which was assuring us in writing that Mr. Hirschfield's money was off the table and was no part of any settlement, and that and some other conditions were met, and as a result, we were able to reach a settlement. The settlement number was $850,000. I don't know how that will be distributed. I understand Ms. Jones' legal fees are $3 or $4 million, but that's not my problem. That's a problem they'll have to work out.
There you go. There you go, Democrats. Go ahead. Go get Bill Clinton. Prove to us it's not political. Go get Bill Clinton. $850,000 he paid off his hush money. He did it while president. And the funny part is Trump don't Stormy Daniels owe Trump money for defamation. Here's some more reaction from the kooky left. Right? I don't know if there's music. I don't think there's music. No, there's no music. But look, guilty, count 20. Like literally throughout the streets of New York. They're trying to write 34 counts all throughout the streets of New York. These people, bro. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they got it. It doesn't matter how they arrived to their conclusion. All they care about is they got it. They got the ends. That's all they care about. They don't care about the means. They don't care if they twisted the legal system in their favor. They don't care if they bended the law into a pretzel to get their way. They just care that they got their way. Here's a clip from Rush Limbaugh, kind of predicting the future. Right? I digress. Let's get into the clip.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
Yeah, facts. I see why he was a famous political commentator. Rush Limbaugh had the right of it. The clip from Rush is going viral right now for good reason. He said that they wanted Trump gone, and he was right. They think they can destroy the bond between the common people and Trump. This is why it infuriates them no matter how much they slander Trump, no matter how much they try to brand him as a bad guy. No one's really falling for it. Here's another tweet from Dinesh D'Souza. Nelson Mandela was a convicted felon, and he was precisely the man his country needed. A similar point could be made for other heroes like Gandhi. I'm not going to butcher this other person's name, and Martin Luther King. Like, imagine this. Imagine how out of touch Alex Soros is. Democrats should refer to Trump as a convicted felon at every opportunity. Repetition is key to a successful message, and we want people to wrestle with the notion of hiring a convicted felon for the most important job in the country. What Rush said again? Rush, like, they want to destroy your bond, right?
Desperately want Trump gone, and they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
The border was a problem before Trump. The economy, the politicians wasting our money on foreign wars, possibly using it for money laundering activities. All that stuff existed before Trump. Ron Paul ran on some of these issues that Donald Trump is running on, especially on the foreign aid front. And now look at it how it came together in 2024. Now that is the position to win on, to run on for the most part. Put America first. Put the common Americans' priorities first above everyone else's. Because for too long, America has been put last, not first. And this is what they call a threat to democracy. This is what Joe Biden calls MAGA extremism. This idea that a country should put its citizens first. Its citizens' priorities should take precedent over the whims of the global world. A migrant's needs come second to an American's needs. That idea, Joe Biden wants to put this narrative that it's extreme. So for my final clip, I kind of want to do more reactions of, Tim Pool and some of the commentary surrounding their reaction to the verdict, the statements. This was like a day ago because I believe these conversations has meaning to it, because you getting a general sense of how everyone is really taking it. Everyone with some influence, everyone with a voice. No one's really speaking in favor of this. Imagine The View, I think, is the only public place, like people with a platform, that's actually expressing their happiness, and the mainstream media that are actually expressing their happiness for the fact that Trump got convicted. But for the most part, liberals are silent. Democrats are silent. The Biden influencers are like dancing on TikTok. I showed you that. I showed you how Whoopi was happy to say Donald John Trump is a convicted felon. She was happy to say that. The View hostess was ecstatic. They were glowing to say those phrases. Mainstream media couldn't wait. Alex Soros out here saying that at every opportunity, the Democrats must use his status as a convicted felon. Not knowing that you're probably make it make sense. Democrats are the same people that said, oh, convicted felons deserves to be heard, deserves to have a voice, deserve to have their voting privileges back. But as soon as Donald Trump becomes a convicted felon, they use it as a derogatory term to exclude him from the American process, when they are the biggest supporters of having convicted felons vote, because they know convicted felons were more likely to vote Democrat than Republican. See how we come full circle? See how I highlighted that all that matters to a Democrat is what is in their best interest. They keep their positions vague because they want to pick and choose what is convenient or expedient for them at any given situation. When they find out convicted felons vote Democrat, oh no, convicted felons are people who deserve a second chance. Donald Trump becomes a convicted felon. You should not elect a convicted felon as to run our country. This is asinine. Republicans should be ashamed of themselves if they let a convicted felon be a president or represent their party. What has the Republican Party have come to? Because all they want to do is play a game of narratives. Let's take a look at the clip.
Harris, isn't that funny though? Like, we call it the Trump campaign. You call it the Clinton campaign.
Right.
You know, who did she have? Tim Kaine? Was that her running mate?
I see it's so irrelevant.
Exactly. We never brought it up. Anyway, here's the quote.
They also refer to it as the Biden-Harris administration.
Right, here's the quote. In New York today, we saw that no one is above the law. Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain. But today's verdict does not change the fact that the American people face a simple reality. There is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president. The threat Trump poses to our democracy has never been greater. He is running an increasingly unhinged campaign of revenge and retribution, pledging to be a dictator on day one. And
you know the funny part about that, when they say he's pledging to get revenge, I think that's what America wants. Like, look at what you did. Look what you did to the American people. Look, Biden. You created a cumulative environment where the cost of living continue rising at a drastic rate. 2022 was crazy, highest inflation in 40 years, Joe Biden. We're in a recession right now, Joe Biden, and you're gaslighting Americans saying, no, we're in a strong economy. How come you have to get all your media apparatus to tell us that? It should be self-evident that we're in a strong economy. In 2019, y'all was sitting here trying to get the media to say, oh, Trump's economy isn't good. It's failing us. It's not a good economy. But no one believed you. Now you're saying that it is a good economy in 2024, and no one believes you. And you trying to project that, oh my God, if you put Trump in office, he's going to use he's going to use it for revenge. We kind of want that because Trump's interests and the American people's interests are aligned. We want to decimate the federal government because the federal government doesn't do anything productive for the American people. What's the point of having a system that doesn't really help the common people that it pretends to help? Instead, you use us as almost like a resource extraction. You extract resources from us and you send it overseas. We pay 100% of the cost, but we get none of the benefit. And then you try to spin, oh, look, this is how sending money to Ukraine benefits America. At the expense of our border, at the expense of our own national security, we leaving ourselves vulnerable. We're giving up all these weapons to all these two wars that's going on in Ukraine and then at the Israel-Gaza stuff. Depleting our resources, depleting our weapon. We have to create weapons. We putting the factories, the manufacturing in overdrive to support weaponry for Ukraine and Israel. God forbid that China decides to invade Taiwan. We're stretched in between 3 wars. But you don't see the inherent risk to the safety of the American citizens by you stretching yourselves thin like this, putting us continually in debt at the cost of other, like, if these people are our allies, shouldn't they be paying us to recoup some of the costs that us American taxpayers have been paying? No. Politicians act like a middleman and say, oh, don't worry about the slaves. We'll just extract tax dollars from them and then we'll send it somewhere else. Inflate their currency, dilute their buying power. Things it's harder for them to live their day-to-day life, but they'll keep working for us. And we keep managing what we should do with it. Every time we say, hey, we gotta cut the deficit. We gotta manage the deficit. Fiscal spending is out of control. Y'all don't care. It falls on deaf ears. And then we get the one guy that actually listened to us, a billionaire from New York, Donald J. Trump. And this is why people like Donald Trump. This is why people love Donald Trump. Because he fights for us. We feel like he fights for us. We feel like we have a common enemy. You, government. You, career politician. You're the enemy of the people. You're the threat to democracy, but you're pretending you're not. You're pretending that he is. Well, in every corner, you're breaking the law. You're forgiving student loan forgiveness. You're giving student loan forgiveness to appease your base. College-educated people who statistically is supposed to be making more money than the common person. 60% of Americans do not graduate from college. So you make the majority pay for the loans of the minority because that minority happens to vote for you, Democrat. How is this not political? How is this not bribery? I don't know. But you get away with a lot of things, Joe Biden. But you want to pretend Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. And then they're going to be surprised when RFK polls come out and said you can make the argument Biden's a bigger threat to democracy. He's trying to prosecute a political rival. Using the fact that it's not me, it's the states doing it. But you're the leader of the party. You're the leader of the Democratic Party, aren't you, Biden? So you're saying your political party went rogue on you? But you want to pretend you have nothing to do with it. And then when Americans come out and say, no, this is politically motivated, you're going to try to gaslight and say, no, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous thing to say. It's dangerous to say that. It's dangerous and I would say irresponsible. That's what he used. Dangerous and irresponsible to say that the prosecution against Trump is politically motivated. When every signal, every circumstantial evidence points to the fact that it is. But Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. That narrative is dead. After what you guys did is dead. That's why no one cares. No one cares what you call Trump anymore. convicted felon, Nazi, fascist, authoritarian. No one cares anymore. The Democrats are the boy who cried authoritarian. Democrats are the party that called racist. Democrats are the party that called threat to democracy. People are gonna like this election. One thing is gonna highlight the next 6 months. Democrats are gonna expose how full of ish they are. Because you don't judge people by their words. You judge them by their deeds, by their actions, by what they actually do, not what they say. Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. Okay, let's look at his actions. When he thought he lost the 2020 election, when he thought he won the 2020 election, what did Donald Trump do? He told his people to protest. The protests went out of control, just like the BLM went out of control, end up destroying property. But you don't call your side that. But that's something for another day. Then Trump tells them to go home. You ban them off Twitter so you can sit here and pretend that Trump never condemned it. Make it make sense. He checked your girl, I forgot her name, on the CNN town hall about that. Within hours, he said, hey, go home, return peacefully, and y'all ban him off Twitter. Just like that. And then y'all pretend that, oh, he never said anything. He never told them not to stop. It took over 8 hours for Trump to finally say something. Ridiculous claims. And they wonder why people don't trust the mainstream media anymore. They're wondering why, oh my God, digital media is hollowing out. BuzzFeed is closing. BuzzFeed's News is closing. Media Matters is closing. We had to lay off a lot of people. We need to protect journalists. Journalists are important, are integral to our institutions. No, you're not. You're part of the problem. Trump's revenge is America's revenge. That's why we don't care when you say he's a convicted felon. So what? That just shows a convicted felon is better than voting for a Democrat politician. That's what the American people's trying to tell you. But instead of saying that, no, you're going to say, oh my God, the people are ignorant. We got to step in. We got to choose for them. We got to take Trump off the ballot. Who died and made you king? But that's how the Democrats act. The Democrats act like they're a nobility class in America. Remember when Nancy Pelosi got called out in UK over the sea in Britain and UK, United Kingdoms, as being part of the elite? The Democrats are a party of people who feel like they're the elite. They feel like they know what's best for you, Americans. They feel like they know what's best for you. They know what you should want, what you have to want. You're a woman. Abortion is the most important thing to you. Don't care. Don't worry about your safety. Don't worry about crime. Don't worry about the economy. Don't worry about getting displaced by immigrants. Who's gonna be the first one replaced by the immigrants? Minorities. But then they want to spin a narrative saying, no, it's a white supremacist talking point to talk about replacement theory. When in real time, Black people in Chicago are realizing that the Democrat Party is just trying to replace them. Oh, you're moving them into our community centers. You're giving them all this tax dollars. Now Chicagoans, Black Chicagoans, are thinking about going Trump. But they don't see it. Because they're like, yo, shut up, peasants. You're supposed to vote for me or you ain't Black. Democrats are just a party of gaslighters, bro. I swear. Gloating, happy, victory laps right now. We'll see in 6 months. We'll see in 6 months. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see in 6 months. We'll see.
Calling for our Constitution to be terminated so we can regain and keep power. A second Trump term means chaos, ripping away Americans' freedoms, and fomenting political violence, and the American people will reject it this November. The fascinating thing is, the only way you believe this is if you don't pay attention.
Agreed. This is the only way you believe this nonsense. If you're not paying attention. That's why I say the Democrats, they need to voter turnout because they know the probability of increase of ignorant votes. They do interviews with Cardi B, whose audience doesn't really focus or have any high levels of political knowledge about certain topics, but they sure care about her endorsement, though. These Democratic influencers online will get mad when Cardi B said, I ain't endorsing nobody. When The Rock said, I ain't endorsing nobody. I ain't voting for none of them. Cardi B say that? Oh, Cardi B, you're uneducated. You need to know you're giving up a right that your ancestors fought tooth and nail to have, says the black Democrat. Whenever a black person says that they don't want to vote. But if a black person come out and say, oh, we're going to vote Republican, Waka Flocka said, hey, I'm endorsing my dog Trump for president of the United States. Look at this coon seller. No, being pro-Democrat isn't pro-black. Actually, being a Democrat as a black man is actually anti-black. Look at all the policies. Look at the results. Don't give me no fluff. Look at the results. Democrat policies hurt everybody, but it hurts black people the most because black people are the testing grounds for a lot of this nonsense that they're trying to spread through the greater culture, the other groups of people. Single motherhood, right? War on poverty, welfare state. 40% of Americans' kids are born to single motherhood, single moms. All the school shooters come from single moms. And they're complaining, oh my God, look at all these white kids shooting up schools. Those white kids come from a similar circumstances as many black kids, single mother households. But they don't want to focus on that. They don't want to focus on how they have incentivized an environment that creates more violence, more mentally unstable children. Democrats don't want to talk about that because that's what's helping them win. Single women is their biggest voting bloc. Black women, the most loyal Democratic voter. That's why they've been antagonizing the men lately, the black men lately. Joe Biden's putting out Black Voter Initiative. That's not for black women. Well, for young black women, because young black people are trending slightly towards Trump. That's where the move is happening with young blacks, not the older blacks. Blacks over 50, they're always going to be Democrat. You can't tell them nothing. Look at Stephen A. Smith. I see all these things wrong with Joe Biden, but I'm going to still vote for him. Look at Charlemagne. Got told to his face that he ain't black if he don't vote for Joe Biden. Complains about Joe Biden. Still going to vote for him. I'm not going to endorse Joe Biden, but I'm going to vote for him. Essentially endorsing Joe Biden. Like, you can't, like, if you keep rewarding, right? Like, it's like a kid. You tell a kid, stop. Don't do that. Don't hit this other kid. But you're laughing. You don't correct the child. You don't give any consequence for what the child is doing. The child's going to be like, oh, I guess it's fine what I'm doing. And that's how the Democrat Party treats the black vote. And many black people rather sit on the couch, not try to bark, not get anything for their vote. They rather just sit and protest the Democratic Party. And I'm fine with it. I don't really care. At this point, I don't really care. But what do you have to lose, right? Donald Trump said that best. What do you have to lose? You're in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party. And instead of leaving that Democratic Party and try to go to another party and try to see what solutions they have to offer to some of the problems you're dealing with and giving that a shot, you rather be like, nah, F that other party. So you still want to trust the party that you say you're in an abusive relationship with about the narratives they taught you about the other party. So you feel like, oh, we ain't going to vote for either of them. Is that because of your own informed decision making? Is that because of your own research? Or that's because of a narrative that was told to you by a Democrat, by a liberal, who's incentivized to make up or characterize the other side as being somehow against your best interest? America, man, we got to wake up, bro. Because I'm telling you, we will create such a bad incentive if Joe Biden and the Democrats actually perform well in this election. But, I digress. That was just my 1 hour rant. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, this live stream. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the live stream. I appreciate you guys if you drop any likes, any comments about your initial reactions, your aftermaths, updated information as the time of making this video. Maybe more people are talking about the new numbers. I don't know. But there's so many reactions to what's going on with the Trump conviction that it's almost impossible to really catch up or keep up with every opinion out there. Retreat Hall, what's up, man? I appreciate you making it to the live stream. 52 million? Dang, yep. 52 million in 24 hours. All right, 24 hours. I'm chilling now. I already said what I had to. I said my piece. That's the reaction. And I want to see the polls now. I think that's what I'm waiting for. I think we're waiting for the polls at this point. We're trying to see what is the initial reaction to all this. But if Google Trends is anything, if you compare the two search terms, how do I support Trump versus how do I support Biden? It's like a rocket. Like support Trump is like this. So the trends are saying that a lot of people are coming to Trump's side. 30 and imagine this, the $52 million that Trump got in a single day, 30% are from people who never donated to him before. That means I can realistically count that as Trump gaining slightly more support, 30% more support towards his campaign. If this is not going to be the biggest and it is up to us Americans to make this the biggest political mistake in Democrat history. It's up to us to make that happen. All right, but I'm gonna sign out for now. No, I've been feeling real like tired lately, so I want to catch a nap. So I ain't gonna do a super long stream. I'm just gonna keep it under an hour and 30 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. You guys can play it back. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know your thoughts about the Trump's aftermath, your initial reactions, your initial analysis, how you think all this will play out in November. I'd like to hear all you guys' thoughts and opinions on this segment. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on your way out. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be still kind of pay attention to the news, see what Joe Biden is up to, see any initial reactions that get my interest. If not, you always know where to find me. I appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend. I'll catch you guys on the next live stream. Peace.